When looking at the Persian invasion of Greece, one does not pay much attention to the fact that the whole of Greece was only 1/8 the size of the Persian Empire. The fact that Greece is able to repel Persia despite its size is astounding in and of itself. Greek weaponry and battle tactics far surpassed that of Persia. Because of this, Persia was weakened and eventually conquered by the same nation they had tried to conquer.
Greek weaponry and armor consisted of a large body shield known as a hoplon, leather corselet or bronze cuirass, bronze helmet, long spear, and a short sword. The large shield carried by the Greek warrior covered most of his body, thus giving him more protection than his Persian opponent. Also, his shield was reinforced by bronze, giving it the ability to stop a spear thrust. His legs were protected by bronze greaves, often in the shape of his leg muscles. Needless to say, the hoplite was pretty well protected, and, when gathered together in the deadly tactic known as the phalanx, they were a harbinger of death. The phalanx was an important aspect of the Greek arsenal. The advantage of the phalanx was in the tightness of the ranks and the discipline of the hoplites as they engaged their opponents in battle. The Persians were at a disadvantage against the Greeks, for they were light infantry, unable to compete with the more heavily armed hoplite. When compared to the Greeks, Persia was not up to par when it came to armament, for their weaponry and armor consisted of large bows, short spears, daggers, axes, spiked maces, lassos, wicker shields, and bronze helmets. Unlike the hoplite, the Persian foot soldier's shield was incapable of stopping a determined spear thrust. Facing an unwavering enemy, with only a wicker shield for defense, the Persian foot soldier found himself lacking. At the Battle of Thermopylae, Persian officers had to whip their soldiers to keep them fighting, forcing them to face death at the hands of the Spartans defending the pass.
After the Persians were defeated and flung from Greek territory in 479 BC, they were never able to achieve the same greatness as that of earlier kingdoms. But 100 years later, Alexander the Great was improving his army, but his father, Philip of Macedon, had left him. One of those improvements was the strike from the rear. It was performed like this. His troops advanced not in a straight line, but on a slant or echelon with the right wing leading. That phalanx would make contact with the enemy forces first, and then one by one the opposition would meet the rest of Alexander's forces. There, Alexander's light cavalry would help them in place. At the same time, Alexander's heavy cavalry would bravely smash through the enemy in front of them, wheel left, and take the foe from behind. These tactics never failed. Alexander then came with this crack army into the Persian Empire, subjugating and bending Persians to his will. Alexander defeated Darius III and his men 3 times over a period of 3 years. After Darius had been murdered by his own men, Alexander could truly call himself the ruler of the Persian Empire.
The Persians based their tactics largely on the Assyrians, who relied heavily on the archer pair. This consisted of a spearman bearing a large, light shield and a spear, with the archer hiding behind the shield and continuously firing arrows. Since the Persian Empire stretched from the steppes of China to the Mediterranean Sea, there are many exotic elements in the Persian army. For example, the Indian contingent contained war chariots and elephants. The Persians also employed the use of heavy and light cavalry.
Looking back, we see Persian battle tactics and weaponry inferior in every way to the Greeks. Also, the Persian army was no match for the well-trained and disciplined Greek warriors. These factors ensured the eventual collapse of the Persian Empire in 331 BC.